So, Jake, we're going to talk about something a little darker, depression and low testosterone. So, depression really is kind of a deep hole that really feels like kind of no light can penetrate from it. That differentiates from sadness or a decrease in mood, and only varies in a matter of degrees. So what do I mean by this? The degree of differentiation matters little to people suffering from depression, right, or either condition. They only know that they kind of feel like a little dead inside or numb. But all kind of ups and downs of life and joys maybe. It's kind of holds a little passion for them, right? So telltale signs of depression include kind of loss of interest in pleasure or normal activities, right? So we're talking sleep disturbances, trouble concentrating, AD or dysfunction, right? So angry outbursts as well. Anger and anxiety are tied, and so that is a physical condition, unexplained kind of physical problems. Some people manifest their body or their kind of stress and or depression in their body. So back pain, agitation, restlessness, as I mentioned earlier, anxiety, right, or feelings of sadness, right. So the possible causes are many. There could be a genetic predisposition towards depression, or it could be kind of a perfectly understandable cause, loss of a loved one, physical abuse, financial problems, or with some, I guess, more of our affluent base and more men and women, like the realization that maybe money doesn't get that level of happiness. There are kind of medical causes too, substance abuse and major illness, and there's kind of a low, more recent discovery that correlates, right, lower borderline to borderline testosterone levels can contribute to depression, right? So a few years back, Dr. Michael Oura Ring of GW School of Medicine, looked at the charts of over 200 plus men tested on the lower end of the spectrum, testosterone levels, right? And so, we're troubling 56%, right, or of the kind of borderline low testosterone men proved to kind of suffer from depression or depressive tendencies, right? So here's our article here, we'll put the show notes. And so, basically, men like them that kind of have depressive tendencies, right, they can benefit from TRT therapy, right? So the thing is, like, kind of reviewing this article, we don't know if a low testosterone is one of the causes of depression or depression itself causes low testosterone. It's kind of a low chicken egg situation. Regardless, kind of they found the effects of testosterone replacement on patients is often profound, right? So depression, the cause of depression may start to kind of lift a few weeks in after starting treatment and a few months after, right? So TRT therapy, testosterone replacement therapy really isn't for decreased libido, low energy, loss of muscle tone, or better physical health. It's not like for this thing that, only for bodybuilders and people who can work out. I mean, it's about helping men. This is kind of interesting quote that one of my favorites that my, that Henry David Thoreau characterizes as leading quiet lives of desperation, right? So, if you are kind of feeling down or you kind of feeling a little off, perhaps that TRT could help. So I just want to pivot here to ways on what we recommend our smart clients to work on TRT. So one thing that really helps right now is regularity. And what I mean by that is like going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, and starting to learn more about how your body responds to sleep. So I'm using something called the Oura Ring. We could talk more about that. And what does that tell me? It helps me understand more about my performance. So let's talk about it, right? So it tells you more about you, right? So if you're using the Oura Ring, what I've noticed basically is I'm starting to track REM sleep. I notice if I kind of hit my 75 sweet spot, 75 minutes in, plus of REM sleep, and I consistently wake up at the same time. So hitting that before 5, so 4:52 a.m. every day, I feel on point. Like I feel like really feel good, right? So this is like for me personally, you will start to kind of notice certain trends with you by using the Oura Ring. So what's cool about the Oura Ring is basically you can look at different trends and things like that. So you can kind of see resting heart rate. You can look at your REM and deep, right? Look at readiness and sleep scores, and you can kind of see how it goes, right? And how this correlates and how you're doing. And so, certain things can kind of be tracked, and over time, you're going to learn, like with readiness, actually, if that helps you, if HRV is something that kind of correlates with you being well rested, right? And so, this is a kind of very interesting, tool that is used to kind of help out with getting back, right? So another thing that's super helpful, a gratitude journal. This is kind of recommended by somebody called Marshall Goldsmith, who's a leadership author. And so really kind of, before you start the day, kind of grateful for what the top 3 things you are, just writing that down, kind of planning your day out. And then at the end of the day, kind of reviewing, right? And so reviewing, much of kind of Goldsmith talks about, reviewing your habits and trying to stack and track your habits, right? So For example, some of the things I try to track at the end of the day is, I had that set of did I do my best questions, right? So I ask myself, did I do my best to kind of remain in neutral mode, right? Cool, calm, and collected. So this is kind of something that I gleaned from Russell Wilson. He has a performance coach that talks about being neutral and kind of retaining cool, calm, like that mental state and being collected, right? So neutral thinking. The second one was we talk more about that. Did I learn something new? Or be fully engaged? Did I be fully engaged today? Focus for force multiplier. Did I do my best to not miss energy on those that cannot change? So those are some of the questions I ask myself at the kind of review of my prior day when I start the day, and then a few other questions I kind of write down. What am I looking forward to today? What could stress me out or throw me off? What are things that got me yesterday? And the purpose of this is really not to journal physics journaling. It's basically to kind of get yourself in the right mindset and in the playing state. Something kind of super helpful too that I've noticed was something called LED lighting. And so Sam Altman kind of recommended this. He's kind of largely responsible for the growth of Y Combinator, and he talks about the effects of it. And I have one right here that I use. You just kind of turn this thing on, right? Let's stop sharing it. You turn this thing on like 15 minutes in the morning. You don't look at it, obviously, but it helps out with what they say is D3 deficiency, perhaps getting that sunlight or so forth. If you have seen this affective disorder that somebody can look at. So this is kind of like what it is right here. We'll include more in the show notes. So this is basically kind of Sam Altman talking about what he uses, and this is kind of what it looks like right there. So not too expensive, right? And 15 minutes a day, it does a difference. And then something that's lastly that has just been a total game changer. I can't say much about this. This is kind of a prescription nootropic. So the Ring Kit Plus from SummaUp is a total game changer. It's a prescription nootropic that basically is 5 to 10x what Adderall is in terms of not being high performing, enhances overall focus and mood, and kind of reduces anxiety and anger. Right, phenomenal. And this has kind of really been a game changer. And we can talk more about that. But overall, being able to have this has really been super helpful. And that has kind of played a role in, my ability to kind of manage moods and focus, help out with anxiety and so forth. So, if you know somebody or you are suffering from depression, sadness, or kind of a decline in mood, and haven't really benefited from counseling or antidepressants, you may want to consider making an appointment to SummaUp to see kind of how we can help you. If it's the BK Plus or the TRT replacement therapy, which is what we do through something called microdosing TRT. You can make an appointment to learn more at SummaUp.com. Hopefully this was informative for you, and you can kind of think about how you can best optimize your day and also kind of work on the mood aspects. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.